Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another special edition of Team Melli Talk. I'm your host, Eftekhari. And during this time where we have, let's face it, plenty of time to reminisce and be nostalgic about the past, let's call this special edition Great Moments in Team Melli History. And joining me for this special edition is a longtime Team Melli supporter, Roy Kaviani. And he was actually in attendance at a game that I like to call Refuse to Lose in Doha. And the game I'm talking about was a World Cup qualifier for the 2006 World Cup between Iran and Qatar. It was played in Doha on the 13th of October of 2004. So we're going to relive this experience. Roy was in attendance at this amazing game. Roy, welcome to TMLE Talk. It's really great to have you on the show.
Thanks a lot for having me, and hi to all the fans all over the world as well. How you doing?
All right, doing excellent. Glad to have you here. So, before we get into this game and, the details and whatnot, let's go back and review World Cup qualification at that time. So it was the second round of World Cup qualification for the 2006 World Cup in Germany. And, Team Melli fans were obviously hungry and hoping for something great because, let's face it, missing out on the 2002 World Cup, we were not really happy at all.
Disaster, basically. We missed out on the World Cup, and it felt like we're going to miss out on this World Cup as well after the Jordan game and then this game. Of course, that's what we'll talk about today.
Yeah, and so let's review that second round. We look back at the second round. Back then, for some strange reason, I guess we would call it strange. I mean, FIFA has a great reputation for being strange or other words, but we're not going to get into that. But the second round consisted of 8 teams of 4 groups. And it was only the 8 group winners that would go to the final round of qualification. And Iran's group, it was Iran, Jordan, Qatar, and Laos. So when we look back at this group, I think we were able to say that things could have gotten a little scary, especially if you had like a bump in the road or a hiccup. And that's basically what happened to Iran. And let's go over those results. It started off first a 3-1 win against Qatar, then a 7-0 win against Laos. Team Melli fans are feeling upbeat. Everything's cool. Then a 1-0 loss to Jordan at the Azadi Stadium. I remember I was just stunned in disbelief. I couldn't believe it. But then fortunately, a few months later, head coach Branko Ivankovic decided to bring back Kholadat Azizi and Vahid Hashemian. And then a 2-0 win against Jordan. And from what I remember, Roy, is that after that 2-0 win against Jordan, Iranian football fans were basically saying, okay, we're good now. The job is done. But let's face it, I think you and we were on the same page. We knew Iran against Qatar in Doha was going to be tough.
Yeah, and I mean, Jordan somehow beat Iran as well. But on paper, everybody knows that that group should have been between Qatar and Iran, first and second. But somehow Jordan surprised everybody. It was a good package, that team, and they actually surprised everyone as well in the Asian Cup. They only lost some penalties to Japan. That was after they shocked Iran. So Iran basically was the team that they started to progress with. Qatar was always the better team on the pitch. Jordan had a plan in every game with the manager, and it worked. So in Azadi, basically, we beat ourselves, and we should have won that game easily. We didn't. Kicked ourselves in the backside as we always do, and thank God we've managed to fix it and win in Amman. And then we went to that vital game against Qatar in Doha, in Al Gharafa Stadium.
Of course, and you were there. And for our viewers, Roy, of course, is a longtime Team Melli supporter, and he has been living in Doha, Qatar. So clearly, he's part of the big contingent of Iranian football fans in Qatar. Obviously, we are thankful for that because whenever our Team Melli plays, on the road, especially in other countries in the Persian Gulf, we're happy that there's a nice contingent of support. How was the support that day for Team Melli in the stadium?
There was about 3,000 at least, between 3,000 or 4,000. There's always a big amount of Iranian fans in Qatar. So every time Team Melli or any of the Iranian clubs come, like in the Asian Champions League, there's always fans there. So this one, there was about 4,000. with their families, and everybody was excited and nervous in the same time. And it was amazing atmosphere. And there was a mix of other nationalities as well there. And then you've got 60% of the stadium was supporting Qatar and 40% was with Iran.
All right. I, of course, can imagine that the feel for, like you said, people were excited, but also nervous, can be surprised. And, as we're about to get into this, and, the surprising thing for this game, like we said, we're talking about these great moments in Team Melli history. I didn't get to watch this game. So for me, it was a form of torture that I had to be in class at university and, just relying on text message updates. And I'll get to that later. So now let's get right into that game. A good start. Iran takes a 1-0 lead after 9 minutes on a goal from Vahid Hashemian. But only 9 minutes later, Qatar tied it up, and it ended up being 1-1 at the half. So tell me, from what you were seeing, after Qatar tied it up, and, it was eventually at halftime, it was still 1-1. I mean, what was going through your head? Were you feeling upbeat, or were you more so nervous?
No, I remember before Iran scored the first goal, our first 8-9 minutes were really good. And then after we scored, for some reason, we just went to bed, went to sleep. And we let the game drag on, and Qatar scored. And they kind of woke up, but the team didn't seem confident, or none of the fans felt confident. And we think, oh, here we go again. There goes 2006, and it's gone. That's almost every single fan in the stadium that day was like, we're not going to qualify here. That was the feeling.
And that's a feeling you don't like. And to be honest, when I look back at that feeling, I think that day, maybe probably for the first half, before I went to class, I was on livescore.com and I saw it was 1-1. I kept on hitting, refresh. Look, when I say we're going back, this is back in 2004. Things are much more different than they are now. And I saw that the score was 1-1. And I'm being honest, I was feeling like, okay, it's a tie game, so you can't just act like you're going to lose. But I wasn't feeling, super optimistic because, what can we say? We're a little spoiled. We don't want drama in some of these big games. We just want to take care of business, and that's it. But then, as the game went on, second half started, and I remember one of my good friends back at home was sending me text message updates. And then in the 75th minute, I got that update. I got that text message. It said that Qatar just scored. He said Gol Mohammadi put it in for them. And at that moment, I looked at the clock in my classroom. I was in my, like I said, I remember it exactly. I was in my German history class. I looked at the clock and I realized that there was about 15 minutes left. And, to be honest, I don't care what anyone else's reaction is to what I'm about to say, but I started to feel like I started to go numb. Like my heart was pounding really fast. And all that was going through my head was, are we about to miss out on another World Cup? And that was just, I just couldn't believe, I didn't know what to do at that time. So now, of course, let's go to you. Like, we know you're at the game experiencing it all. What was your reaction after that own goal from Yahya Gol Mohammadi, and he's on the ground looking up, laying on his back?
It was just, it was a disaster. I started shaking and I started looking at my brother who was there with me, and I said, yeah, I'm going to leave now. So I got up my seat and I started walking out. And I walked to the right, which is about 5 meters. Then I started walking downstairs to the little gate. And within 3 minutes, so it took me about 3 or 4 minutes, while I was walking out, then we scored. And we got the equalizer, which was like 78th or 9th minute, which is 4 minutes, I think, after. So we kind of thought, okay, here we go. We have 10 minutes, 12 minutes left to fix this. So I started walking back to my seat, which I couldn't go because the whole place went mad. 4,000, but it was mad in that section. Shall I talk about what happened after?
Well, sure, go ahead.
So I was trying to go back to my seat, and it was just chaos. And my brother, I ended up looking, and he was about 20 or 30 meters away from so I managed to walk that far away from my seat. And I was walking back, and fans are going mad with dancing, and they got the drums, and it was chaos. Then we scored. It was like last minute, I think. What was it? It was the 89th
minute.
89th minute, and just mad. It went mad. And then I saw a guy in front of me. He had an afro, and I started pulling his hair for some reason. I don't know. He was a little kid, 15 or 16. I started pulling his hair, and people jumping, and I think I was body surfing on top of some people. It was just chaos. Couldn't see anything in front of me. I don't think anybody saw what happened in the last 5 minutes after the goal. Nobody saw anything. It was just mad. It was just going crazy. Final whistle, and then it was a relief more than celebration, more than anything. You stop shaking. Your body stops shaking suddenly because you're shaking for 90 minutes, and it stops, and you're just happy. Can't say anything else.
Amazing. I could honestly say how you have no idea what I would want to do to have been in that position. I just would have been happy watching it on TV and jumping around the living room or something. But let's review those goals again. I mean, so after Iran was down 2-1, I remember I got a text message update. He said, "Okay, go." My friend said, "Goal Iran, Borhani." So it was 2-2. I looked at the clock. I said, "Okay, we have time." I said, "We have to win though, because earlier in that day, Jordan beat Laos 3-2 in Laos, and Laos was actually winning 2-1 at 1-0, and actually also winning 2-1. I was like, Jordan really
that would have been enough, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan was really being overconfident. I can't believe even Laos had 2 leads against Jordan. So when I saw that Jordan won, I was like, okay, now we really, really must win. Otherwise, we're in deep, don't really want to say the word, but it's pretty obvious what I want to say. And that, so like I said, I got that text message update. Arash Borhani tied it up. I'm okay. Hopefully, hopefully we can find that winner. And I was kept on waiting. My phone was on vibrate, and I kept on hoping, okay, is my phone gonna vibrate? When's my phone gonna vibrate? I'm taking notes, and I'm just going crazy. Then finally, when I got that text message update, and it said, my friend said goal Iran. He didn't tell me who scored, but when I checked the updates, for one, he updated me at the end. Iran won 3-2. I was so relieved. I mean, I thought I was going to. I thought I aged during those last few minutes of that match, and just wondering what would happen. So when I found out the winning goal was scored by Vahid Hashemian, I mean, I just was so happy, and it right away made me say what an amazing player he is. And Branko Ivankovic, Branko once had problems with Vahid Hashemian, and he decided to swallow his pride and say, you know what, I'm bringing this guy back because we need him. And Vahid Hashemian even said that he came back just for the fans, not for the federation. And obviously we got to be super grateful for him coming back. And and the next thing I want to say, this is something I want to tie into Team Melli today. I mean, of course, like I said, we were obviously really happy after that victory, and that got Iran into smooth sailing. But the one thing about Vahid Hashemian now is when we look back at this game, we can never forget about the finishing skills of Vahid Hashemian and how he was able to score big goals in big games, when time was running out and when everything was on the line. So in all honesty, when we look at our Team Melli right now in 2020, do you feel that today's Team Melli is missing a player like Vahid Hashemian?
Yeah, the team we have now is nothing like the team we had before, because 3-2, we went down and you're playing away and you managed to come back. Now when Iran goes 1-0, which happened twice now in the qualifiers, you've got no confidence. We're not going to come back here. If we do go for it and we open up, we might concede the second. And we don't have the confidence now. Serdar Azmoun, he's a great player, but he disappears in big games for some reason. And we haven't got the characters that we used to have before, unfortunately. Even Ali Dai as well. Even towards the end, he was dangerous. Even he hasn't scored much in his last 2-3 years, but he was still dangerous. Hashemian's a machine. He's a helicopter. That was his nickname in Germany, I think. Yeah, this team we have now it's missing characters. It's missing, I don't know, discipline as well. It's not just on the field. It starts from the office. It starts upstairs as well. And it's a mess, I think, from top to bottom in Iranian football now.
I really like your answer. It was full of so much inside information. And, naturally, I do hope that a lot of our Team Melli players can mature and get better in those big situations. But we got to wait and see how things happen. You never know how it's going to work. Some of the players might get better and score some goals in the big moments. That's what we got to hope for. And as we're getting closer to wrapping this up, let's still look back at this. One thing is when we look back at this dramatic win in Qatar, of course, all we can say is that it was an immense victory because Iran could have missed out on the World Cup for a second time in a row, and that would have been devastating to Iranian football.
Yeah, because we missed out on 2002, and then of course we missed out 2010. So if we missed this one out, that would have been 12 years of no football in the World Cup. But thank God we had this gap in the middle, and we should have qualified 2002, and we should have qualified in 2010 as well. We missed out, and it's our own fault as well again. So it wasn't like we can't blame AFC or FIFA for anything. It was our fault every single time. But thank God for this, because the last round of qualification was much easier than this. Iran cruised it. It was easy. It was win all the way. We managed to qualify before the last game. Absolutely brilliant. And it was probably the Jordan home game was the wake-up call, I think. Sometimes you need a slap to wake you up, and that's what happened. So if you get the slap early, it's better than getting a slap late.
I agree 100%. Yeah, I agree 100%. You're absolutely right. From that moment on, after that, there's the next game people don't really even want to talk, don't even really talk about very much, because the next game was a home qualifier against Laos. I believe it was a 7-0 victory. It was over like after 25 minutes. I mean, it was perfect way to
It was done, yeah.
way to wrap up that group. And for us Iranian fans, us Team Melli fans, we were just laughing, saying things like, what can I say? I remember sending my brother a text message saying, haha, bye bye Jordan, bye bye Qatar. That's, of course I was gloating, having fun. But like in the final round, yeah, I mean, 4 wins, 1 draw, and a loss. And that last loss was a loss to Japan when qualification was already clinched. And so there basically was no drama in the final round, and that's how it went. And you've been to a decent amount of matches watching Team Melli. So for all your games you've been to, I mean, the win for Iran over Qatar and Doha that you were at, where did this victory rank for you out of all the times you have seen Team Melli play live in a stadium?
I would say this is second, because the best one was Morocco and Moscow and St. Petersburg. I was there. You were there as well. You can't beat that. Winning in the World Cup. And I was actually, in the last 5 minutes, I was like, ref, just please whistle. And then we got the free kick. It went in, and please whistle. And it happened. We won. I don't know, we deserved it or not. I think we did deserve it because we were much better in the second half. But yeah, that's probably my best memory. Qatar in Doha, that was the second. This one against Qatar in 2004 was a dramatic one. And against Morocco, I think those are the best 2 ones.
Well, hey, what can I say? I mean, I've been to a decent. I'm happy to say I've seen Team Melli play in big games, but I could always say that I'm jealous that you got to experience that comeback in Qatar. What an amazing win that was. And Roy, I'd just like to thank you for taking the time to join me on Team Melli Talk. It really was a pleasure to have you on to talk about such a great moment in Team Melli history.
Thanks a lot for having me, and let's hope we got the slap and the guys wake up in the next 4 games and win all of them. We need to win and get 12 points. Otherwise, well, again, if we don't qualify, you only blame yourself. You can't blame anyone else.
Absolutely. That's what we got to hope for. 4 victories. Let's hope the boys do it. And we're going to wrap up this edition of Team Melli Talk. Thank you, everybody, for the support. You know where to find us on social media at Team Melli Talk. Our website, www.teammellitalk.com. And thank you for watching on YouTube. We got more content coming. You know what to do. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that notification button. And we'll see you next time. Roy, is there one last thing you'd like to add?
Love you all, and let's hope we're in Qatar in 2022, hopefully.